I thank the President of the Economic and Social Council for his statement. In accordance with the General Assembly Resolution 73-299 and Decision 75-503 of 18 September 2020, I now invite the Assembly to view the pre-recorded statement of His Excellency Abdul Kavi Ahmet Yusuf, President of the International Court of Justice.
Mr. President of the General Assembly, Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, with the establishment of the United Nations in 1945, a decision was made by the states participating at the San Francisco Conference to replace the rule of force by the rule of law. That decision has made all the difference for humanity in the past 75 years. For billions of people on this planet, reliance on the international rule of law, the application of the principle of equal rights and self-determination of peoples, the prohibition of the use of force among states, and the protection of human rights has meant freedom, independence, progress, and peace in the past 75 years. All of this is thanks to the establishment of the United Nations. This gives us all a cause for celebration today of 75 years of this unique institution. As the President of the International Court of Justice, it's fitting for me to say a few words about the international rule of law. It is sometimes easy to take for granted the existence of the international rule of law or to forget about its significance, not only for peace, but also for the progress and prosperity of all nations. No state, however powerful it may be, can provide security, prosperity, and clean environment to its people without cooperating with other states. Nor can all the problems of a nation be resolved at the national level. International cooperation has to be based on a system of rules. Unless this system of rules is respected by each state, the edifice of multilateral cooperation may collapse. As much as a state may wish to be free of the legal obligations which bind it to other states, it cannot do so unilaterally without losing the benefits it derives from its cooperation with those states and with others. Therefore, states are not only brought closer together by diplomatic relations, trade, and the technological advances in transportation, telecommunications, and cyberspace. They are also bound together by the web of rules that make possible these interactions. A web of rules inspired and based on the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations and of international law. These rules are not imposed on states by an outside legislator. They are designed and assented to by the states themselves. They are often based on mutual interests and shared values. An international rule of law cannot, however, exist without a judicial body to which disputes can be referred and by which they may be resolved. It is for this purpose that the drafters of the Charter of the United Nations established the International Court of Justice. This was in response to the determination proclaimed in the preamble of the Charter to establish conditions under which justice and respect for the obligations arising from treaties and other sources of international law can be maintained. It was also in furtherance of the principle in the Charter that all members shall settle their international disputes by peaceful means in such a manner that international peace and security and justice are not endangered. The statute of the court, which is based on that of the Permanent Court of International Justice, adopted almost 100 years ago on 13 December 1920, was annexed to the Charter of the United Nations as an integral part thereof. This is a clear indication of the importance of the court in the rule of law architecture of the United Nations, of which it is the principal judicial organ. In the past 75 years, the court has proudly assumed its role as a guardian of the rule of law at the international level. It could not have done so without the respect for its decisions required under Article 94 of the Charter of the United Nations. This article provides that each member of the United Nations undertakes to comply with the decision of the International Court of Justice in any case to which it is a party. The quality of the work of the court has also enabled it to acquire a growing confidence among states to entrust to it the resolution of their disputes. This has led in recent years to a heavy caseload before it, so that the number of cases submitted to it in the last 25 years has actually arisen to the same level as those referred to it in its first 50 years of existence. Mr. President, the increased reliance on the rule of law in international relations as opposed to arbitrary power and the settlement of disputes by peaceful means rather than by force are the greatest success stories of the United Nations. We can all aspire to a more peaceful and stable world as long as relations between states are undertaken in the respect of the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations and of the obligations they have assumed of their own volition. The International Court of Justice stands ready to continue its contribution within the bounds of its statute to the protection and advancement of the international rule of law and to the peaceful settlement of disputes among nations. I thank you for your attention.
I thank the President of the International Court of Justice for his statement. In accordance with General Assembly Resolution 73-299 and Decision 75-503, I now